gentlemen, welcome to TGW Turnbuckle Talk. Here are your hosts, EvilPenguinGaming and OddSmith311.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is episode 2 of TGW Turnbuckle Talk. I am EvilPenguinGaming.
And I am OddSmith311.
And this week we are focusing on our favorite finishers. Now, what we have done, we have taken our top 3 single and tag team finishers, along with a couple of honorable mentions, because it's just really hard.
Yes.
When you've been watching wrestling as long as the two of us have, it's really difficult to just pick your top 3. I mean, how long did it take you to come up with it?
Man, I tell you what, I was still, up until we started recording, I was still bouncing back and forth between one I was going to mention and what to leave off. I mean, because here's the thing, the criteria we need to look for, I believe you pinned it out to me earlier, was the best way to look at it. What was it? The impact of the move, being able to put it on anybody, and then what was the third thing again?
Oh, let me open up my notes. What did I say was the third thing? I said hit on anyone, hit suddenly, and impactful.
There we go. Which I think is pretty much good criteria that I use to pick mine. Plus, and another thing is we try to pick moves that, not just moves that are generally good moves, but moves that that made us pop as fans. The ones that really make us misty-eyed just thinking about them.
Indeed. So, before we get into this week's topic, we are going to have just a little bit of promotion, so we will be right back.
Join me, OddSmith311, and the rest of the BTV crew every Thursday night, starting around 9 o'clock, for Insomniac Hours. I'll be playing some of my favorite games, from Super Nintendo to Wii, PC to Xbox One. We'll be all over the place. It's what we like to do. We stay up late, we play games. You can follow us on Twitter, Bananarama_TV, for updates and interact with us during the show. Be there or be square.
Don't be square.
Join us every Friday evening as Felix and Lou,
And whoever else I can convince to come play games with me.
usually hopefully me, OddSmith311.
Oh, someone will be there with me.
We'll be doing multiplayer gaming this season. Something we're going to try.
Yes, every Friday night. We're going to be playing various games with our friends. And it probably will vary greatly depending on what games everyone has and what we want to play. So, it should be an interesting potluck of gaming.
So yeah, stop on by, and let's all game together and do what we do best.
And if you don't want to play and you just want to lurk in the chat room, well, that's fine too.
You can find us on Discord as well.
Yep, so the main place for that is twitch.tv/Bananarama. Thanks for listening.
Join me, Evil Penguin Gaming, every Wednesday this season at 1 p.m. for Retro First Timer. I'll be playing games, old games that I've never played before, like Zelda, Star Fox, Mega Man. You never know what's going to pop up. That's every Wednesday at 1 p.m. for Retro First Timer with Evil Penguin Gaming.
Hey everybody, thanks for listening. And we want to take a second here to thank our Patreon supporters. We appreciate you very much. You help us do what we do. All the donations, all that money stacks up, and it helps us afford some really good things for the channel and the station that we normally couldn't.
And all that money goes right back into the channel. We appreciate everything everybody's done for us, and we just want to continue to make the best entertainment we can, and do what we enjoy doing, playing video games, interacting with everybody, and trying to make as much original content as we can. So stop on by. We have all kinds of perks that you can be part of.
We got perks. We're gonna give you shout outs. We'll put your names on our videos. It's a way to help out and support if you're not sure how, and you like what we do. It's patreon.com/Bananarama TV.
Once again, we'd like to thank everybody who supported us and everybody who's donated and continues to help us grow.
Thank you.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey.
Pudding.
The gender pudding pop. Sorry.
Stop it. Okay, now we are going to start with single finishers. So, I'm going to go first. I'm going to name the finisher, and I'm going to tell you exactly why I fell in love with it as a kid, no less.
Yes.
And to this day, still pop for. My number 3 favorite finisher of all time is a cutter. Any kind of cutter. It can be from DDP. It can be an RKO. It can be a Bubba cutter. I don't care who hits it. I absolutely love a cutter.
Well, it's the epitome of being able. You talk about being able to hit a move on it anywhere. I mean, some of the most. I mean, God, some of the most jaw-dropping clips you can see of wrestling online is RKOs and whatnot. Just even the stunner, which in its way, it's not really like. I guess it would. It's like a loose member of the family, I guess. Different execution, similar setup.
So, I fell in love with this move watching WCW when I was a kid. I loved DDP, and you never ever knew when the Diamond Cutter was going to strike. And like you said, the epitome of being able to hit suddenly, the epitome of being able to hit on absolutely anybody. You don't have to lift the guy. All you got to do is grab him by his throat and drop him. It's the absolute, one of the best moves I can think of that you can hit on absolutely anybody. And the variations of this move, you know, watching DDP put somebody on the top rope and give him a Diamond Cutter. Watching Randy Orton hit, I mean, the best RKO of all time, no matter what anybody says, is the one he hit on Evan Bourne when Evan Bourne was doing a shooting star press.
You know, man, there's one time I sat and watched that like 10 times in a row. I'm just like, how good are these guys to be able to pull that off, to time that, to pull it off without killing one another. The only other one that I don't know, I think I agree with you, that's probably the most jaw-dropping, but I would say an honorable mention to that, and maybe a rival would be the one he hit on Seth Rollins. When
oh man, and you can do that in the games, by the way.
I've seen it once. It's done it.
I absolutely love that. It's almost as good as that spear that I made a GIF of.
Oh
when
yeah,
somebody was jumping off the ropes and Edge hit him with a spear. God, that was so much fun. Anyway, so yeah, my number 3 favorite finisher of all time is a cutter.
Very nice, very nice.
Number 2. Now, I will preface this by saying that this move is used during matches, regular matches, by countless people, men and women alike.
Interesting.
But I fell in love with this move back when the band first started to tune up. I absolutely nobody on the face of this planet can hit a super kick like Shawn Michaels.
No, you know, we talked about it before, man. The craziest thing about the way that that came about is that that used to be the setup for the teardrop suplex.
Yep.
And he turned it into one of the most. I mean, whenever he would do that, it was just he would get shivers because everybody knew it was coming, and it would just. And when he hit it, you just felt like no one could get up from it. It was just, it's another move that you can hit on anybody,
and at any time.
Yes.
Because how many times have we seen him just hit that so suddenly and get a pin?
And it's another one. You see great clips of people coming out of moves and him nailing them, coming off the top rope, him nailing them. You know, like
Shelton Benjamin.
Yes, Jesus.
My favorite super kick of all time is when Shelton Benjamin was going for some sort of a slingshot move, jumped into the ring from the top rope and got clocked with the super kick.
I mean, it just is. Even when you're watching, you feel like, oh my god, he's dead. Or he has to have like brain damage or something.
Good God Almighty! They killed him.
He broke him in half.
That's it. He's dead.
Sassafras. No man.
So, but yeah, I mean, a close second. I love watching Dolph Ziggler throw a super kick.
He's got that gracefulness.
I always loved watching Rikishi throw a super kick.
Well, yeah, because he had the gracefulness, except he was like, 100 pounds heavier than Michaels? If not more,
at least. Probably closer to $1.50.
Yeah. I think the Usos do pretty good super kicks, too.
Oh my God, absolutely. Absolutely. So, my number 2 favorite finisher of all time was Shawn Michaels' super kick.
Sweet chin music.
Sweet chin music. That is exactly right. Now, for my honorable mentions, before I get into number 1, I chose another one of my honorable mentions is another move that everybody to this day uses as a regular move in a match. There's been multiple guys that have used it as a finisher. One guy still to this day uses it as his finisher. Different variation, but one of my favorite superstars of all time used it as one of his finishers. But nobody, and I mean, again, hit on anybody, hit suddenly, and super impactful, Jake's DDT.
Yeah. And specifically, Jake was, the innovator of the move. And
exactly.
Just so smooth.
Exactly.
You believed the person was just out cold when he hit it. But yet he only hurt. I think the only time he ever hurt anybody was Ricky Steamboat. It was like a freak. That's a freak accident.
Yeah, just a freak accident. But, it's gone down the line to Tommy Dreamer, Raven, Mick Foley's, who I was talking about, is one of my favorites of all time, using the double arm DDT.
Yes.
And, you've got Dean Ambrose using the Dirty Deeds, also a double arm DDT. Mickie James actually throws a hell of a DDT, a jumping DDT.
Yeah. Yeah, she does. I've seen her doing it several times.
Yeah.
I think Edge...
So that's one of my... the execution, the lifting DDT.
Who did the Impaler? Was that a...
Or maybe that's what... I think it went under both names, actually.
Okay.
I could be wrong. I'm sure somebody will correct me.
But dude, it's in the annals of wrestling, it's become, like you said, it's become such a vocabulary of not only like what the wrestlers do in the ring now, but what the fans, granted, it is a little more difficult to have it as a straight up finisher now because so many people do it. But when the right person does it, you can still believe that, baby, I would still believe Jake the Snake coming out and hitting somebody with it now and being like, oh shit, they're done.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Or Raven. Raven was always Tommy Dreamer too, man.
I thought the Raven effect was, gorgeous to watch. Raven throwing a DDT was just, so pretty.
Did you ever see their last match together before Raven left the ECW?
No, I need to get on watching that, actually.
Man,
I need to get on watching a lot of old ECW stuff.
Never seen so many DDTs in one match in my entire life.
Yeah, that's what you were telling me before.
Oh, great match. Great angle. Great move. You're right.
So my other honorable mention is a move that really only one guy famously uses. And I've only ever seen it famously used by him. I've seen a few other people do it as a regular move, but it's very, very few and far between. And again, hit suddenly, hit on anybody, super impactful. Chris Jericho's Codebreaker.
Yeah. Yep. And
I love the move.
Kind of innovative too, because once he started doing that, you start seeing tag team moves, a lot of different variations of it popping up. Exactly.
It's one of those moves that as soon as you see it, you're like, that's it. That match is over.
Yep.
I'm sure somebody's kicked out of it, but off the top of my head, I can't think of anyone.
No, I can't either.
My number one favorite finisher of all time. You actually already brought it up. But simply because of the effect that this man had on me when, back 95, 96 until maybe 2002 or 3, maybe, when he stopped wrestling, but then stayed with the company through, God only knows how many different cameo appearances or whatever. Sheriff is the Stunner.
Yeah.
How can you not just absolutely love the Stunner?
What, like you said?
Because, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, like you said, man, it's the impact of it. That's the difference between that and a cutter. A cutter is almost like a reverse neck breaker to me. Not a reverse swinging neck breaker, Hangman's neck breaker. Where a Stunner is just bam, done.
Right.
And some of the people sold
and you're landing different. You're landing so much differently.
Yeah, oh yeah.
On a Stunner than you are with a regular cutter. I tell you, the McMahon-Austin storyline for all those years is what sold me on the Stunner. Because when you see a guy knock out his boss for the very first time, who hasn't wanted to do that in their lifetime?
Oh, dude, I think about stunning my boss several times a day. And that's when I'm not even at work.
And with such a gorgeous move. Because how careful does he have to be when he's hitting that move not to straight up rupture someone's larynx
or break all the teeth out of their mouth?
Exactly. It takes such finesse to hit that move. And it's so beautiful to me. I've always thought that move was just absolutely gorgeous to watch.
Did anybody else do it before Steve Austin did it?
Not that I'm aware of, but then you had people like Disco Inferno, the Chartbuster.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Hashtag WCW ruins everything.
Yep. Except Kimberly's on screen right now. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, even though you're watching a WCW paper.
Yes, I am. Oh, what were we talking about? I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly. So my honorable mentions: Jake's DDT, Jericho's Codebreaker. My number 3, a cutter from absolutely anybody. My number 2 was Shawn Michaels' super kick. And my number 1 favorite finisher of all time is the Stone Cold Stunner, the one and only.
It's a pretty solid list. It messed somebody up.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to take any of those moves. Much less all 5 of them.
Well, another criteria that they all meet, they just have in common, is that the way the fans react and get into the move. You know, people are just waiting for it. They're waiting for the stunner. They're waiting for the super kick. They're just waiting for the diamond cutter. I mean, it's going to happen, and they're on the edge of their seats, and that's a magical thing in and of itself.
Absolutely. So, what is your list, sir?
Well, luckily, we only had one similar one. It's actually, I guess it's the same, technically, yeah. So I'll start off with that one. It's my number 3, and we'll get it out of the way first. Was the Diamond Cutter / RKO. That's why I was trying not to say too much.
Also my number 3, so.
Well, I mean, like you said, man,
interesting.
You could hit it from anywhere. Well, I was just watching the other day, like when DDP was fighting. I can't remember what pay-per-view it was, but he was fighting the Giant, and the Giant went to go grab him and choke slam him off the top rope, and DDP turned it into a Diamond Cutter. It was so fucking cool. And like you said, the RKO, which to me, the only difference between the two is, I don't know if there is. I feel like DDP looks like he sets his up a little more. That makes sense. Like,
well, DDP always did his from a standing position, and Orton always jumps.
True, yeah.
That's the biggest difference.
It was like DDP was almost like measuring them, where Orton was just bam, knocked them, out of nowhere. So that move.
Hashtag RKO out of nowhere.
Like you said, the Evan Bourne one, man. We talked about the Seth Rollins. I mean, and there's so many out there.
God.
Of just him.
Absolute things of beauty.
And Randy Orton, I mean, he'll go down he's going to go down as one of the greatest of all time. I mean, even right now, what's he right now? He's feuding with Jeff Hardy, right? As we speak.
Yeah. I think he's at 14 world titles now.
And what is he, like 35 or something like that? 36?
I know he's close to our age.
Yeah, I mean, it's insane. But he's that good, man.
It really is. Yeah, he is.
And I can't help but wonder if Diamond Dallas Page would have gotten to the game a little sooner. I mean, he's always been around wrestling. He was a manager. He managed, Scott Hall, the Diamond Stud.
Diamond Stud, yep.
I think DDP was like, 39 or something, 38 when he started wrestling in the ring? Like, actually...
He was up there.
So I mean, and that move was right... Because if I remember correctly, he started doing that before the Stunner, right?
Yeah. I think so.
Because up until that point, I hadn't really seen a cutter move too often, with the exception of the Dudleys in ECW. But I hadn't seen anybody do one like that. You know what I mean? So,
right.
Great move. Great number 3. My number 2, we talked about moves that are impactful, moves you can hit out of nowhere, and moves that, I mean, this one usually has a little bit of setup that goes along with it, a little bit of theatrics, if you will, but it can be done pretty quickly.
I think I know where you're going.
It's akin to the super kick in the sense that usually it would be built up. But man, whenever I saw Randy Savage come off the top rope and land that elbow as a kid, it was another one of those moves. I remember when he fought the Ultimate Warrior. Was it WrestleMania 7?
Oh, my favorite match of all time. He hit 5 in a row.
When Warrior got up, I remember thinking, oh my God, he's not human. Because, I mean, whenever Savage hit that elbow, even up until the end of his career, man, when he was in WCW, if you got hit by that elbow drop, it was like... And the only person, I'll give him credit, the only person I've ever saw... Or I shouldn't say ever. I mean, I'm sure I've seen a lot of people do it. But I think Shawn Michaels hit a really good elbow drop.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Really smooth. I think Dean Ambrose when he does that elbow drop when they're standing,
I love it.
I think that should be his one. I think I would like that as his finisher better than that Dirty Deeds. I don't know. I don't dig that move for him, but not that I don't like the move, but yeah.
Kairi Sane's elbow drop is absolutely gorgeous.
Oh yeah, you're right. She's another one, dude. When she hits it, she's not very, there's not a lot of mass on her per se, but it is very graceful, and it does hit with that impact of like I don't know. It just rattles them.
It kind of hits with the impact of a frog splash.
Yeah, which was. I went back and forth on those, and I think I went with the Savage elbow drop more because, like I said, the fans really reacted to it, and it was such an iconic move. Not that nobody had ever done an elbow drop off the ropes, although when Savage was doing it regularly, I don't think that it was something you saw a lot. Not at least not like in a national thing like WWE or WWF or something. I mean, Christ, I think. Was that back at the time when WCW couldn't go over the top rope and couldn't get on the turnbuckles, or was that was like early '90s, wasn't it?
I know it was close to that time.
Yeah, so I mean back then it was the same thing with the clothesline. I mean there was a time when clothesline wasn't a normal move. That's why when Stan Hansen did it, like the lariat, you're like, oh god, like. But the Savage elbow drop, man, just it popped me as a kid.
Oh man, that one should have been on my list. Not Stan Hansen.
The clothesline from hell.
Yes.
Yeah, that does.
I've always said if I ever got into the business, my finisher would be a clothesline because watching JBL hit that clothesline was just, God, beautiful.
Do you remember the Nikita Koloff's finisher, the sickle? It was
no.
It was a clothesline. It was kind of like a lariat, but I don't know. It's hard to. It's almost like the difference between like a diamond cutter and a stunner. If that makes any sense. And the way that and the way that he pulled it off. But yeah, he was another good one for that one. My honorable mentions, man. I've been having such a hard time. I've been shuffling back and forth between number one and honorable mentions. I think the sharpshooter, to me, was a move. It didn't have this. It had a little bit of built-up when Bret would grab the legs. There were times where he could get people riled up. But just the way that Bret Hart applied it. I mean, and I mean the sharpshooter. Because I love Sting. And I love the Scorpion Deathlock. But when Bret did it, it just looked so smooth. It looked so real.
Like, it looked a lot more painful.
Yes. Sting just sometimes he would lock it in. Sometimes it would just be kind of loose, and it didn't even look like he was. It was almost like when The Rock does it. I hate The Rock's sharpshooter.
Well, it's the same way with watching anybody else do the figure four that's not Ric Flair.
Yes. Even Charlotte, which I hate her finisher. Maybe that's one we can do another time, is our finishers we hate. Because I don't understand why the figure... It looks cool, but I don't understand why it would hurt.
It wouldn't.
You're taking all of the pressure off of their legs. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love watching her do it. I'm not complaining about that, but whatever. But the sharpshooter... another honorable mention, and this wasn't a move... This guy could hit it on just about anybody. I wouldn't say in general it's not what you would call a easy to hit. But when this guy did it, I mean, he literally ended a couple careers. Vader, with the power bomb. When he got in the WWF, he did the power bomb, but he did the Vader bomb more as his finisher. The power bomb was almost like a crowd pop, like a setup.
I love the Vader bomb, though. The Vader bomb always looks so smooth.
Oh, yeah, especially because when you got a 400-pound fucking dude hitting it the way he could. It looked like he really killed him in Monsoon. But with the
when you said Vader, I thought you were going with his moonsault. I was like, yeah.
No, dude, the power bomb as a kid, because I remember watching. Because I used to watch a lot of WCW. I remember watching he power bombed a fucking jobber on the floor and ended his career on the fucking concrete. They pulled back the mats. He was, I can't remember what year it was, Slamboree or Super Brawl. He ended Nikita Koloff's career with a. I think Nikita. Now Nikita might have been, he was already been along for a while, so he was probably injury prone anyway. But
right.
Vader he finished the job with that power bomb, man. And when he hit that power bomb, and Sid Vicious is another one. Sid Vicious.
I was hoping you'd bring him up.
Very similar style. I also the Vader power bomb was closer to a jackknife, which is another awesome variation of a power bomb. Diesel, him being so tall, man. The Batista bomb, another great variation.
Last Ride,
another beautiful variation.
I would put the Last Ride over any of those simply because of the higher lift.
Yeah, especially when they did it to someone like Rey Mysterio.
Exactly.
Oh.
When Taker hits that on a small guy, like that ladder match he had with Jeff Hardy on Raw.
Yeah.
I mean, if he would have hit the Last Ride on Jeff Hardy in that match, oh my God.
He broke him in half.
Exactly.
One more
tiny...
one tiny honorable mention. We don't have to discuss it. I'm only throwing it in because of how creative I think it is. But I thought the GTS was one of the more interesting moves I'd ever seen as well.
He didn't create that, right?
Yeah, it was created, I think, in New Japan.
That's Hideo Itami's finisher.
Yeah. It's a beautiful...
Hideo Itami is on 205 Live right now.
Ooh, I'm going to check him out. But if we're ready for the number one, and
I'm ready.
You almost kind of just segued it in a way. And once again, this wasn't a move that you could say could be hit on anyone, but this person hit it on just about everyone. But The Undertaker's Tombstone.
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah, I named that number one. I think I put it over the Savage Elbow Drop just because the Tombstone. First of all, I remember when he hit Hogan with it, I was gleeful. I thought he killed him. I'm like, yeah. But that's
Survivor. Now are you referencing Survivor Series 91 when he hit it on the chair when Flair put the chair in the ring?
Yes. Yeah. Well, I thought he beat Hogan at Tuesday Night in Texas.
No, he beat Hogan at Survivor Series 91, and then Jack Tunney demanded the rematch for the earliest possible date, which will be this Tuesday in Texas.
Ah, okay. Okay.
That's when Hogan took it back from him after getting the urn from Paul Bearer and throwing ashes in his eyes.
Well, I another thing too is, like, now I'm thinking about it. As far as finishers go, I said it before. When Undertaker debuted, I had only been watching wrestling for 3-4 months, something like that at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So I had seen the pile driver, which I thought was a pretty brutal move. But when I saw the tombstone, I was like, oh my God, how did you do that move without killing him? To me, it was always... It speaks volumes to Mark Calloway that he hurt a few people early on. Like, I think he hurt Coco Beware. Or he dropped him on his head a little bit. I know they had some heat after that Survivor Series, but for the most part, he was one of the few people that was and probably still is allowed to do a pile driver in the WWE.
I just watched... I was watching MLW earlier today.
I haven't seen that yet.
And I was watching the Battle Riot that was it was uploaded 3 weeks ago. And I watched Sami Callihan hit a pile driver on the apron, and I cringed so bad.
Oh, yeah. Oh, dude, I mean, that... Oh. That he didn't kill the other guy is amazing. I guess speaks to how talented he is, I guess.
On the apron. The hardest part of the ring!
Didn't Daniel Bryan recently, when he was fighting the Miz, what did he do? He tried doing something on the apron. I thought. Maybe I'm thinking the wrong match. I don't know. That's crazy.
No, you're thinking of the wrong match. It was Hardy and Nakamura.
Ah, yeah. Oh, he started the Swanton. Oh my God.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe that, man.
Oh my God, that looked brutal.
I definitely cringed when that happened. I was like, poor dude. There's no way to make that not hurt.
Exactly.
that's just...
But wrestling's fake.
Well, I will say this. That's the first time that I saw Nakamura, and I was like, okay, I can see where people are talking. Where people are so high on him.
Oh, good. I'm glad you are finally getting on that hype train.
Well, I'm glad he finally had a match that was... I don't know, man. Maybe... I didn't think that... I thought the matches with him and Styles were good. I was just kind of let down because when they had the one at WrestleMania, I don't know. I was expecting something a little more... I don't know, old school maybe? I don't know.
That match was severely watered down.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Definitely.
So, let's recap your list, sir.
All right, number 3, much like you, was the Diamond Cutter / RKO. Number 2 was the Randy Savage Elbow Drop. Honorable mention of the Sharpshooter, the Vader and Sid Powerbomb, and a brief shout out to the Go to Sleep. And then number 1, the Undertaker Tombstone. Lights out.
I think we should throw a quick shout out to maybe the Rock Bottom.
Yeah.
Because a Uranagi, if you plant them, if you follow through with it, is super, super impactful. It's not necessarily one you can hit on absolutely anybody, although I mean the Rock did.
Yeah.
But it's one that can be hit pretty suddenly.
Yes. From out of nowhere.
And also, yeah, the Clothesline from Hell, JBL. Oh, mwah. Thing of beauty.
Magnifique. Shout out to the Lariat.
So, now, sir, we move on to tag team finishers.
Hell yeah.
Now, my only criteria for tag team finishers is absolute precision timing. Because it's one thing when you are one guy or one girl throwing a finisher and you only have to worry about yourself. You only have to worry about the timing of you.
Mm-hmm. When
you have a partner that you have to worry about the timing with, it adds such a whole new element. I personally would rather watch a good tag team match than a good singles match absolutely any day. Which is why I love NXT so much, because the tag team division in NXT the past few years has just been absolutely stellar.
Yeah.
And then they come up to the main roster and they
shit the bed.
Yeah, they flounder.
Maybe that's not fair.
It's not that they shit the bed, it's that creative shits the bed for them.
Yeah, quote unquote creative.
Yeah, period. So,
I think we're going to end up having damn near the same list. I really do.
I wouldn't doubt it. First, I want to throw my honorable mention out first of all.
Okay.
Because it's one that doesn't necessarily require precision timing, but good timing. And it's one that I always loved watching. And, shout out to Jim Neidhart after just passing away. I know I really ripped on him during the first season of TGW.
Relentlessly.
And I feel so bad about it now.
Well, dude, come on. It was all part of the storyline.
Oh, yeah.
We loved Jim Neidhart.
It was all in good fun because, yes, I have grown my goatee in the style of Jim Neidhart.
Yeah. It's crazy.
But yeah, the heart attack. Absolutely, I love that finisher. And the match that really made you fall in love with that finisher was, I want to say it was WrestleMania 5. It was at a WrestleMania, I know that. It was either 5, 6, or 7. Maybe not 5. Probably not 5, actually. But the match between the Hart Foundation and the Bolsheviks that went less than a minute.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can go back and rewatch that to this day and still smile because it's just funny. That's like watching Bushwhacker Luke go in one side and out the other during the Royal Rumble.
Oh yeah, dude, it's good for a quick laugh.
Exactly.
And that, I mean, you get the benefit of hindsight now of seeing Bret Hart that early, going, man, look how young he looks. Look how just green.
Exactly. So, my number 3. One that you want to talk about precision timing? Because one guy has you on his shoulders and you got another guy flying off at you and you're waiting to be pushed back by the guy whose shoulders you're on. You could probably guess the Doomsday Device.
Hell yeah.
And you see a lot of teams pay homage to the Road Warriors. Yes, I'm calling them the Road Warriors. They are not the Legion of Doom. They are the Road Warriors.
I always call them the Road Warriors now.
But I mean, you see a lot of people pay homage to them using the move, but nobody hit it like Hawk and Animal. It was so pretty watching Hawk fly. And that on the very moment of impact, watching Animal throw his arms up to push the guy back so he lands flat.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about precision timing.
Oh, God. I mean, man, even when they did it perfectly, it still looked like it was just
brutal.
Yeah. And when they messed it up, I mean, I've seen him mess it up a few times. Dropping the guy kind of, I don't know if you really say dropping him, but the guy kind of falling more on his head than... Oh, I've seen.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, there's.
They're monsters.
I mean, nobody's perfect.
No. Well, one person was, but.
Well, you know what? Shout out to the Fisherman Suplex, the Perfect Plex as a finisher because love it.
That's a good shout out, definitely. Nobody did it like Kurt Hennig.
Nope. So yeah, my number 3 favorite tag team finisher of all time is the Doomsday Device.
Excellent.
My number 2 favorite tag team finisher of all time, that I believe, out of respect, I don't know that I've ever seen another team even attempt the move. I've seen it done with half of the team and the other guy wasn't part of the team, but it's always been at least one member of the original team. And we brought it up earlier. It's the cutter. It's the 3D.
3D.
It's not my number 1. But I mean, again, precision timing. And if you think about it, you'd think it would be the other way around. Because it was always Devon doing the lifting and Bubba doing the jumping. And Devon is a much smaller man than Bubba ever was.
Yeah. Maybe that's why it worked for some reason.
Shout out to Bubba Ray for being that athletic and being able to jump that high and hit that cutter in the air thousands upon thousands of times. And there was never one that I didn't like.
I think the only time anybody ever kicked out of that move, I think there was one time in TNA, which I don't even remember who it was that kicked out. And I feel like there was maybe one time in ECW after somebody had been laying for a while. Maybe, I don't remember who it is. That might be wrong. I know the one in TNA, but yeah, that was a move that no one got up from. Like, that was such a protected move.
Now, the one time that I said I saw it, because it was Bubba, but it was the Royal Rumble when Bubba made his return, and Devon wasn't there, but R-Truth was in the ring. Do you remember that?
Not at the top of my head. I need to go back and look at that.
Truth did the lift, and Bubba did the cutter, like always.
Nice. Did he say,
Well,
R-Truth, get the tables?
He did, actually.
Oh, did he?
You know me with my Rumbles, man. I can tell you almost every moment of every Rumble of significance. Because I absolutely love the Royal Rumble. So my number 2 is the 3D. Now, my number 1, I mean, it may be an unpopular opinion to put this move over the previous 3 that I mentioned, especially since this move is a different variation of the 3D. But, I mean, it's more or less it's 3D mixed with the Codebreaker, mixed with a long blower. But, oh my god, the Shatter Machine.
Yes.
From the Revival, who, by the way, is probably my absolute favorite tag team right now. Has been for a couple of years. Love those guys. And I don't have words when I see that move performed properly. Because and hearing Corey Graves call that move, it's almost as good as hearing him call it Kinshasa.
Kinshasa!
Because, and that's another shout out. Corey Graves on commentary, I hope he stays there for like 20 years.
Yeah, he's like the only one I like on there.
I love listening to him. He's the only one I like listening to.
He's the only one that sounds like a wrestling commentator to me. I don't know. Maybe that's not fair to Michael Cole, but Corey Graves to me reminds me of like almost like an old school heel sometimes.
Exactly. He's the Bobby Heenan of his day.
Yes.
And that's the absolute best compliment I can give him. But it's true. He is the Bobby Heenan of today. And good Lord, everyone knows how much I absolutely adore Bobby Heenan's commentary.
The Weasel.
Yeah. But yeah, back to the move. The first time I saw that move in NXT, I was absolutely blown away. Because, like I said, I would rather watch a good tag team match than a good singles match any day. And then I see these two guys who are throwbacks. They look like the Brainbusters. They look like the Minnesota Wrecking Crew. Oh, speaking of the Brainbusters, another quick shout. Their Spike Pile Driver that they used in WWF.
Yes.
Oh my god.
I mean,
absolutely brutal.
That was another one.
I was looking through like top 20 tag team finishers of all time, and that one came up on every list.
That was another one, man. I mean, as a kid, you thought they were dead.
Yeah, but you put Arn and Tully together in a ring, and magic is going to happen every single time.
Yes.
But yeah, my number 1 favorite tag team finisher of all time, and it makes me so happy because it's such an important move to the team to this day, is the Revival's Shatter Machine. So, number 3, Doomsday Device. Number 2, the 3D. Number 1, Shatter Machine. Your turn, sir.
Well, like I said, our lists are very similar. Although I think my number 1 is one that I don't even know if you considered it. I don't know if you watch these guys or not, but we'll see when I get there. The number 3, I also had Doomsday Device. Because...
Okay.
And it's the reasons we talked about. Because when I kept going over it in my head, I'm like, man, I know Mike's going to have that on there, but I just can't not put it on my favorites. You know what I mean? Like...
Oh, yeah.
Because as a kid, the Road Warriors were just...
That's the thing, is it's our personal top list. You know, I'm sure they're gonna be similar. They're gonna have similarities and they're gonna have differences. That's what's fun about this.
Well, this segues into number 2, which is, I think, I don't know if it was your second. I don't think it was your. I don't know if these are necessarily in order. If it's fair to put them in order, the first 2 could be interchangeable, 2 and 3. But I also had the 3D. Because
it's so interesting.
Well, it's the same thing. I kept going over. I'm like, a lot of the reasons that you said, man. I mean, it's, and a lot of the criteria we put on, the criteria we put on the other finishers too is the crowd waited for that move. The crowd salivated, and that just, as a fan, it puts you on the edge of your seat. And you see them do that so many ways, so many times on so many different opponents. I don't know if there was someone that couldn't be put in it. Even like the Giant. I bet
Yokozuna.
Okay, you're right. Loch Ness.
Loch Ness.
There's a deep cut for you.
The Mummy.
The Yeti.
The Yeti. That's what I meant.
And it's funny because I had put down for my my honorable mentions, one of them I had put down was the Shatter Machine. More or less...
Oh, I'm really curious to know what your number 1 is now.
Well, a big thing with the Shatter Machine is I know that move because you told me about the move, and then I went and checked it out, and I was like, oh my god. I don't know the Revival as well, and they're a newer team to me, but the move itself, it reminds me of the Dudley Dutch Drop in the sense that it has to be done so perfectly. But I think my number 1 falls in that category too. And this is a move. When I used to stay up late on ECW to watch ECW when I could catch it.
Don't tell me.
And anytime I saw this move, to this day, I see variations on it, but it was one of my favorite finishers. Total Elimination.
I knew you were going to say that.
Well, man, that move... I know the... who is it? The Ascension do... I forgot, I can't remember what they call it. They do something that's similar.
Oh, man, I can't... Yeah, it is similar. But it's just like a high-low when they do it.
Yeah. This was... You talk about precision, timing. I mean, to me... And it wasn't so much about hurting the guy as it was making the move look believable. Because... if Saturn kicks the guy and he falls, and then the guy sweeps him, it looks like he just fucked up. And same thing the other way around. If he sweeps him and then Barry's leg goes over him, but those two just had that. To me, the timing on that was just as arduous as any of the other ones we mentioned. But it didn't. It wasn't so much a matter of making it safer as it was just the effectiveness of the appearance of the move. You know, if that makes any sense. But
yeah, that one was like at close to the top of all those lists that I looked at. So that's why as soon as you said when I used to stay up late, I'm like, he's going with Total Elimination. I know it.
When we talked about favorite, I mean, when you say the favorite tag team finishers, and that's the first thing that pops in my head, how can I not put it on my list? You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's above everything else. The 3D. There's even the one, and this is more of an honorable mention because it's the team's not even together anymore. I can't remember what the name of the move was. But it was it Jason Jordan?
Grand Amplitude.
That was a cool move. Not really a sustainable one because it's not one that they can put on anybody, but it was a cool move.
Really, all it was a lifting back suplex.
It was just visually when they nailed it right. I never saw them not nail it right.
I agree with you. It's a great move to watch.
But I think like the total elimination. Oh, there's one more honorable mention. I'm sorry, and I had to throw this on there because I don't know if I've ever actually saw it done in real life, but I saw it done in the 2K18 game. It's the Meltzer driver. I think it's the Young Bucks.
Yeah, it's the Young Bucks.
The Spike Tombstone pile driver. That is.
Yep.
I thought about that one just because I love the Tombstone and I love the Spike pile driver, but total elimination's got my vote, man. I mean, it's just. So my list: number 3, Doomsday Device; number 2, 3D; and number 1, total elimination. With
I'll tell you another Go ahead, finish.
No, I was just gonna say honorable mentions of Melter Driver, Shatter Machine. He brought the Heart Attack is another one.
If you want to talk old school moves, the Demolition Decapitation.
Yeah,
that was always fun to watch.
And it looked to me like it would really hurt. Although I've heard that it's a pretty easy move to take as long as they don't mess it up. Like.
Yeah, that's what I've heard too. But a good shout for a recent today move that I didn't put on there just because I don't know how long they're going to stay together is Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre's finisher. The Claymore into the zigzag.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Wow, does that... Oh my God, it looks brutal.
Is it the Clay Zag?
It should be.
The Zigmore? I want to see a clip of that.
I was just going to say that, the Zigmore.
That sounds a little better. With finishers, man, we could go on and on. There's so many interesting, even ones that aren't practical, like the Canadian Destroyer and stuff like that. Are just fun to talk about.
Oh. God, the Canadian Destroyer. I loved watching Petey Williams hit that move.
It is cool. Even if it's not realistic in any sense. You ever seen the guy... I don't even know what this move's called. I've only seen an indie guy do it. But he puts him up on the top rope and he picks him up like he's going to vertical suplex. And then he brainbusters him on the top turnbuckle. I don't even know what it's called, but it's freaking awesome.
I don't know that I've seen that.
I think it's a WWE 2K18 too.
One move that I've always loved is the Muscle Buster from Samoa Joe.
Yeah, I was bummed when they made him. I didn't realize it was as dangerous of a move as it was.
Because that's the reason Tyson Kidd can't wrestle anymore.
Oh, I didn't realize that was the... Okay.
Yeah, he hit the Muscle Buster on Tyson Kidd wrong, and that's the reason why he's on the shelf. Seemingly permanently.
I could see that. I could see where that can mess someone up, man. Especially a guy that big doing it.
Yeah. So I don't think we need to debate this because these are our opinions.
I mean, hell, we agreed on.
Yeah, we did agree on a lot of stuff.
Which I wasn't surprised. I didn't think you'd put total elimination, but then again, I was like, man, I don't know. It'd be kind of funny if you did.
I tell you, I love me some Shatter Machine.
No, it is great. It's a great move.
So let's quickly review our lists without the honorable mentions. Okay. I will go first. So single finishers, my favorite of all time. Number 3, the Cutter from Anyone. Number 2, Shawn Michaels Super Kick. And my favorite single finisher of all time, the Stone Cold Stunner. Because, yeah.
Yes.
Tag team finishers. Number 3, Doomsday Device. Number 2, the 3D. And number 1, the Shatter Machine.
Bravo. Bravo.
I agree.
And on my end, for single finishers, number 3, I had the Diamond Cutter or the RKO. I think those two did it as a single finisher better than anybody, but it's a great move overall. Number 2, the Savage Elbow Drop, because damn.
Good shot on that one, man.
That was another one. As soon as we talked about doing this, that he's on TV right now. He's fighting right now. What about that? I don't know who the hell he's fighting, but a Japanese guy. I'm sure he's really good. And my number one with a bullet, Tombstone Piledriver, a la Undertaker. Jumping down to the tag team, and much like you, I had number 3, the Doomsday Device. Number 2, the 3D. And number 1, the Total Elimination by the Eliminators. Perry Saturn and John Kronos.
Man, tell you what, this has been a fun one.
I mean, as a wrestling fan, it's one of the funnest things. I mean, when you go to create a character on the game, I don't know about you, one of the first things I like to go do is pick the finisher. Gotta find the right finisher.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Signatures and finishers, first thing every single time.
Yup.
Like my finisher is always, I always have a signature as an RKO, but my regular finisher is always the stunner. Every single year.
I should change that on your character. Right now you have the F5, which is cool. But Liam Stone also has the I think very similar moveset to yours.
It should be exactly the same except finishers.
So that'd be kind of cool. I changed
Unless
mine.
you changed it.
No, right now it's still the F5. I might change it to the stunner just because no one else is using that in my game. So.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been episode 2 of TGW Turnbuckle Talk. Thank you so much for listening. And you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/TG Wrestling. You can find us on Twitter at ThoseGuys734. You can find me on Twitter at EvilPenguin1981. And you can find this guy on Twitter at
OddSmith311.
And you can follow the channel on Twitch. And you can also find the channel on Facebook and YouTube at what links?
Facebook.com/Bananarama Television. Twitch.tv/Bananarama. That's Rama, R-O-M-A. And on YouTube, right now, if you go to YouTube and look for Control Freaks, and we'll be one of the first names that pop up at the top. Give us a subscribe, and you can catch all the new episodes of TGW podcast and whatnot on there, as well as on Twitch.
No reason not to join us.
Not one.
Oh, wait, I can't use join us. Sorry. It's copyright.
Oh.
So.
Bond with us.
Yeah, bond with dirty.
Giggity.
So, for OddSmith311, I have been Evil Penguin Gaming signing off, and as always, together we have been, count it down with me, a 1, a 2, a 3.
Those guys. It was easier to do in person.